All right, so this Bills-Jets game on Monday night, you just knew it was going to be interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the energy going into this one, division rivals, both teams coming off those cuff losses. Plus, you've got the Jets with their interim head coach after, well, Saleh's firing. That was controversial, to say the least.
Yeah.
It was definitely a game you didn't want to miss.
And it sounds like the game itself didn't disappoint, at least from the articles he sent over. We've got some good post-game analysis here. It seems like that final score, 23-20 Bills pulling out the win, it doesn't really tell the whole story, huh?
Not even close. One of the articles called it a bounce-back game for the Bills, which, okay, yeah, they got the win, but they also had some really uncharacteristic struggles, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Oh, really? What, like giving up big plays?
Big plays, yeah. They gave up 8 plays of 20-plus yards to the Jets, which, for context, that's more than they'd allowed in all their other games combined.
8. Wow. That is not the Buffalo defense we're used to seeing. What happened there? Did the Jets just come out with some completely new offensive strategy or something?
Well, they did rush for 121 yards, which is way more than they've been averaging. So it seems like maybe the Bills, I don't know for sure, but they struggled to contain that run game. And once that happens, it opens things up for the passing game too.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like 1 or 2 fluke plays. It sounds like it was a consistent thing throughout the entire game. And the Bills still won.
Yep.
Makes you wonder how much of that was the Bills' offense then, right? Specifically Josh Allen. One of these articles mentioned his speed on that 42-yard completion was unbelievable. They said he looked like he was running track out there.
16.26 miles per hour, to be exact.
Whoa.
Yeah. And according to, I think it was NFL Next Gen Stats, that's the fastest speed they've clocked for a quarterback on a deep completion in over 2 seasons.
No kidding. That's moving. But, I mean, beyond just the raw speed, what kind of impact do you think that has on the game? Does it force the Jets to change their defensive strategy at all, do you think?
I mean, it's got it, right? You game plan for Allen's arm, for sure. But when he starts moving like that, it's just a whole other thing for the defense to worry about. Did they adjust? I mean, I'd have to see the film, see the play calling to say for sure.
Yeah.
But you got to figure the Jets defensive coordinator wasn't feeling too great after a play like that.
I bet. No wonder they had so much trouble keeping those big plays in check. But even with those explosive plays from the Bills, it sounds like there were still a lot of missed opportunities, right? Especially with the penalties. One of these articles said those mistakes were a huge factor in the game staying so close.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every point matters in a game like that. Luckily for the Bills, it doesn't seem like they made any truly game-changing mistakes.
Yeah. And I'm sure Josh Allen's recent track record of not turning the ball over helped with that, too.
Definitely. This game was his 6th straight without an interception, which is a career best. It seems like he's really learned from those early season struggles and is playing with a lot more control now. But speaking of learning and taking advantage of opportunities, can we talk about rookie running back Ray Davis for a second?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It sounds like with James Cook out, Davis really stepped up big time. One of the articles even said he led the Bills in both rushing and receiving yards. That's got to be some kind of rookie record, right?
It is. First Bills rookie to do that since 1986. To be thrown into a situation like that, primetime game, all this pressure, and not just perform well, but to excel. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no kidding. Talk about taking your opportunity and running with it, literally.
Yeah.
But while we're on the topic of the Bills' offense, we do need to talk about Tyler Bass and his, well, let's just say his kicking performance left a little something to be desired. The articles mentioned that he's been having some ongoing issues, even going back to training camp.
Yeah, it's been a weird one. I mean, the wind at MetLife definitely plays a factor, but still. Missing a field goal, having a PT blocked, not great.
And it sounds like it's not just a one-game thing either, right? One of the articles mentioned something about his inconsistency from that 49-yard range. Like, it's been a trend all season.
Yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on. Because we were talking about those tight games earlier and how every point matters. Well, a missed field goal can completely change the momentum. The Bills are going to need him to figure it out if they want to go all the way this year.
For sure. A good kicker is so valuable. Speaking of valuable players, though, the articles also highlighted Tyron Johnson being back in the starting lineup for the Bills' defense and that clutch interception he had in the final minutes.
Talk about making a statement in your first game back, huh? He was out since week 1 with that forearm injury, so to come back and make that kind of impact, that's huge.
It really is. It's like that missing piece of the puzzle just clicked back into place. And it wasn't even just the interception, right? He had a bunch of other key plays, too, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. He was everywhere. I think he's even tied for the team lead in tackles with Taylor Rapp. if I'm remembering that right.
Rap. See, there's another guy coming back from injury and making an impact right away. I remember one article specifically mentioned his pass breakup. I think it was late in the fourth quarter. Could have easily been a Jets touchdown.
Oh, 100%. That was a game changer. Having him back there just solidifies that Bills secondary, which honestly has looked a little shaky at times this season.
It's amazing, like, the difference a couple of guys can make, right? Just plug in those holes. But even with all that on-field action, we can't ignore all the off-field stuff this week, namely Bill Belichick and those interesting comments he made about the Jets firing Robert Saleh.
Yeah, definitely. Surprising, to say the least.
Right. This is a guy who's famous for basically never saying anything interesting to the media. And then he comes out and basically accuses Woody Johnson of being trigger happy, more concerned with how things look than with actually building a winning team. Bold move.
It really was.
Okay.
Especially coming from Belichick, right? The guy has been around forever. He knows that Jets organization better than almost anyone. So when he speaks, people listen.
They do. And to make things even juicier, he went on to praise Saleh, talking about how he was doing a good job building that team culture.
Yeah.
Building a competitive team.
Right. Which, like, isn't that the exact opposite of what Woody Johnson said? Didn't
Yeah.
he say this was one of the most talented Jets teams ever assembled?
Right.
So, like, who are we supposed to believe here?
Right. Was Saleh actually doing a decent job, or was Johnson right to make a change when he did?
It's tough, man. I mean, the Jets have struggled for so long, but for Belichick to go out of his way and talk about how well Saleh was doing makes you wonder if maybe, just maybe, that decision was a little hasty.
Yeah, it really makes you realize just how, I don't know, complicated all of this is and how much we, like, as fans, don't really see.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
We see the wins and losses,
Mm-hmm.
but there's so much more happening behind the scenes. So much of it comes down to those judgment calls.
Yeah.
Patience versus, like, knowing when to make a change. That's a tough spot to be in, for sure.
Makes you think about the AFC East race in general, right? With the win, the Bills are still in first place, but now you got to figure the Jets are going to be feeling themselves a bit. You know?
Oh, for sure. And don't forget, these two teams, they play each other again later in the season. So
Yeah.
that adds another layer to everything, doesn't it? With Saleh gone.
Right. Like, now it's personal, so it'll be really interesting to see how that next game plays out. With the Jets having this win under their belt, maybe a little more confidence. Could they be even more of a problem for the Bills next time around?
It's definitely possible. This game might have been a little preview of what's to come in this rivalry. Guess we'll have to wait and see how it all unfolds.
Definitely tuning in for that one. But even on its own, I mean, this game had a little bit of everything, didn't it? Defensive struggles, breakout rookie performances, coaching controversies, Josh Allen turning into, like, an Olympic sprinter.
Just another Monday in the NFL, right?
I guess so. But seriously, it's a good reminder why we love this sport. Even when the game's over, the conversations never really stop. There's always more to talk about, more to analyze.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And that's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive, really getting into those conversations, uncovering all the little details and storylines you might have missed. So, until next time, keep an eye on those box scores. But never forget, the numbers don't always tell the whole story.